Well, welcome everyone. We're glad to have you with us for our webinar, Optimizing Client Experience While Maximizing Construction Manager ROI. Today, we will discuss how Paul Buckley, one of our customers, has led his team to construction management success by discovering and leveraging a unique, agile software and services solution that delivers custom advantages while dramatically reducing cost. So Paul is a registered professional civil engineer in California and in Arizona, with 40 years of experience in the design, construction, and management side of the industry. And at Anser Advisory, Paul's responsible for managing field operations and business development. Anser Advisory specializes in providing program, project, and construction management services on capital improvement projects for public and private sector clients across the United States. Welcome, Paul.
Oh, thank you very much.
And Laura, our CEO and the creator of VPO, began her career as a software developer and business analyst. And she's always had an interest in business process re-engineering, helping companies improve their bottom line through automation. Having bought our company in 1998, Laura has grown it and transformed it from an Oracle Primavera software and services reseller to a leading Microsoft-based solution provider for construction project management. Laura and the rest of us here at VPO used SharePoint to create VPO in 2008, and we called it Virtual Project Office, which obviously we've shortened since then. And we customize and administer VPO in Microsoft 365 as a full service solution for construction management. So Laura, if you wouldn't mind advancing to the next slide. Go ahead and discuss our agenda for today.
Okay, thank you, Daisy. So what we put together for an agenda today is we wanted to know from you as far as who's in our audience. I know Paul likes to kind of gear the presentation towards the audience and people who share common challenges that he had. And then Paul's going to share his experience in using VPO and how he uses it to help improve ROI for his clients. But he's going to walk us through the journey of how he selected VPO and talk to sort of the goals and challenges and his pathway to success on how he ended up with VPO. And then we're going to give you a demonstration of how Anser specifically uses VPO. I'll also give you a demonstration as to kind of our generic template so that you can see how much work and customization that we've done for Anser's environment. And then we're going to have a Q&A session towards the end of the session. So feel free to use the Q&A feature of Zoom to put in your questions at any point in time throughout the presentation. And then we will run through them at the towards the end of the presentation. So I know the first thing that we want to do is really ask you a couple of questions in our poll. So Daisy's going to start the poll here momentarily, and we just have a few questions that we'd like to understand, who's in our audience, so we can gear the presentation over to you. So in front of you should be a questionnaire. If you can just go ahead and answer the 3 questions, we'll give you a moment to go ahead and do that. Then we're able to go ahead and find out some questions from you. So we're wanting to know what role your organization plays, if you're a VPO customer or not, and what industry you're in. And I see that we have Paul on from Santa Cruz. Thank you, Paul, for introducing yourself. We have Paul and Paul. So Paul, he's entered some information in to the chat feature, but he's Deputy Director for Santa Cruz County for facilities maintenance and project operations. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, it's Thomas, not Paul.
Thomas.
So, hi, Thomas. Oh, yes. Sorry about that. So that's great to know. And then Daisy, are we ready to share the poll results? There we go. So it looks like we have a lot of engineers online. and no VPO customers and public works and utilities audience. So that is great to know. So I'm going to pass the presentation over to Paul to first introduce his company and then take you on his journey of how he found VPO.
Thank you, Laura, and welcome everybody. Again, my name is Paul Buckley, Senior Vice President for Anser Advisory. A little bit about Anser Advisory. We are a national PM/CM advisory firm. And that's all we do is project construction management advisory, 99% for public agencies. And so this is a perfect audience for this presentation. Real briefly, we touch on all aspects of civil infrastructure from aviation, and you can see all the different service offerings there on the screen. We're about 650, 700 people nationally, and about half of our audience and staff are in the Western region and equally split amongst the Eastern region as well. Next slide, please. My journey. I have 40 years of experience in the industry. So about 40 years ago, I was the youngest kid in the office, just out of school. And at that time, I had more what I thought was computer skills than all the old dogs that I was working for. So back in the 80s, doing construction management and everything else, obviously scanning technology wasn't a thing back then. And I had a lot of skills in DBase applications. So I was using applications like DBase, DBase 3, Paradox, as well as the basic spreadsheets. We were working on computers with limited power. So that was the cutting edge at the time. And then we walked into the 90s. Computers, desktop computers became more of the norm, used by engineers, et cetera. We were still using database programs, but they were starting to become integrated with the Windows backend. And the spreadsheets, we started incorporating macros. And of course, we started to see the big, heavy, hard copy scanners that used to sit and occupy our desks. Then we moved into the 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, and we saw our first CMS, which was Primavera Expedition, which ended up being Contract Manager. We still, that integrated, the processes, the workflows that we're all familiar with today, but we still had to do the hard copy scanning, and we still had to rely on spreadsheets because it just didn't do everything that we needed. And then guess what happened? 2008 rolls around, Oracle buys Primavera, and Oracle decides, you know what, we're not gonna use or support the software anymore. And of course, that left a huge vacuum in the market, and everybody started searching for the next best thing. And fortunately, in 2016, I found VPO. Next slide, please. So in that search, Primavera Contract Manager, again, it did a lot of the stuff, but you had to do business their way. So during my search, I was looking for a comprehensive construction management software system that I could customize to manage projects the way I wanted to and the way my clients wanted me to manage their projects. Before we had, and all of the programs that are out there now, other than VPO that I've been able to find, are controlled and locked down by an IT department. They're big enterprise solutions. And that's cumbersome, and it's expensive. So I was looking for something that I could control. My clients, large public agencies, wanted something that was a secure platform, that they were not going to be concerned about with their data, critical data. All of the big solutions hired me to, or forced me to hire a systems administrator just to support the software. And then again, affordability. When I was searching for the next option and solution, it was, I was getting quotes of $25,000 for one project just to try it. So my clients weren't willing to pay those types of costs for something that we had no idea whether it was going to work for them or not. We obviously wanted something that was easy to use, customizable, didn't require separate document control staff just to get the documents into the system. These days, instead of managing us versus the contractor, we're more of a collaborative environment. We want to work together as a large coordinated team, and that requires transparency for the general information. Yet, we also want something that enables us to hide confidential information while we're talking things through, some of the issues that pop up on our projects. And then, we wanted to find a system that gave the contractors and designers and owners access rights. So instead of always coming to the CM or the designer for specific information and for us having to get in, we wanted a system that allowed each end user to be able to go in on their own and easily find the information that they were looking for. And then we wanted something that we could work with on a workflow type of basis where information was easily distributed and flexible. So, as I said, in 2008, I started my search, and we went to all of the names that you are familiar with today, the e-billers, Procores, Oracles. There's so many out there. And we looked at all of the big ones that I'm sure all of you have heard about. All of them were expensive, even just to try. They were all very rigid enterprise solutions, which meant that they needed support staff and IT staff and all these types of issues to access and use. And we've also found out that most of these solutions were built for contractors and had to be adapted for use by CMs and owners. So the workflows weren't really set up for what we do. So not liking those options, we actually attempted to do it ourselves. And having, looking at the other solutions that are out there, the Dropboxes of the world, we used Box.com. And, they involved different plugins, writing different routines to match our individual project requirements and client requirements. And it worked on a project or two, but we've also found out that, each client had different needs. And now we found ourselves getting into the software customization business. And it wasn't just what we did. So we continued looking. And in 2016, I was searching, and somehow I found Laura and Bpo, and they had an out-of-the-box version that was almost there for me. It was inexpensive. It was built on the Office 365 Microsoft platform, so it was secure. It handled all of my basic needs, but not all of my custom workflows. So the neat thing was I was able to work with Laura, and she was willing to work with me to customize it specifically for my needs and my clients' needs. So it was a win-win. That was back in 2016. We're still working with Laura, and we haven't found anything else that even comes close right now.
And having worked with Paul, just to kind of talk through, what I feel him and a lot of our other clients see as a pathway to their success is that Bpo is built on a trusted platform. We chose the Microsoft 365 platform because of the secure nature and the fact that Microsoft is ultimately the data center host behind the software. So all of our clients, though, truly appreciate the customization aspect that Bpo provides. So many times in the experiences that I've had, and I'll get to in a moment, of reselling off the shelf software was so frustrating because if you wanted something, you had to make sure that every other user of the system wanted that same customization. Whereas now we're able to tailor the system, giving our customers a starting point with our proven best practices, but then able to customize the application to meet their requirements, or in Paul's case, their clients' requirements. And we chose the Microsoft platform because it's an easy to use application or platform because it's Microsoft based. So many companies, people use Microsoft Outlook, Word, Excel. It's common nature in how to learn a system if it's something that's easy to use that you use on a regular daily basis. And from an administration perspective, we pride ourselves on really becoming an extension of our clients' staff to help enable project administration and the administration that goes into inviting external users on our clients' behalf. Paul has a lot of clients, public agency type clients with firewalls in place. And so we need to make sure that everybody in the program is receiving email notifications. And we take the burden of him off of his shoulders by administering the application and onboarding all of the external users that Paul introduces to BPO, including contractors and architects and engineers on his projects as well, which saves him a lot of money from having to dedicate an internal resource to do that themselves and really become the the administrator of their system, like so many other systems require. And we support not only Paul's internal users, but anybody that he introduces BPO to on any project. So whether that's county officials or public agency executives or contractors, and like I said, architects and engineers, consultants, sub-consultants, we provide the support. Paul's company, simply invites them to the system, and then we take it from there and we help them not only get onboarded, but also troubleshoot any issues that they may experience logging into the system. So just to kind of give the audience a background as to how BPO came about. So we started as a Primavera reseller. We sold Primavera P3, Expedition, contract management, all of the various different products that now Oracle supports or provides, having acquired Primavera. But having done so, we had a lot of experience in working with companies specifically in the engineering construction industry, and felt like there was a better way to help customers manage a project that really requires collaboration, like Paul said, among all the different parties involved with the construction project. It's not just one company that's building something, it's all these different companies that don't report to one another. They have contractual relationships to one another on a project. And in 2008, we were working with a construction management firm who had a specific need to have collaboration on RFIs and submittals, and Primavera just wasn't going to cut it. It was still meant to be a general contractor's tool. So we were able to kind of switch gears and develop it on a Microsoft platform for that customer in a SharePoint environment. And having proven that, improving, document management was strong on the SharePoint platform. We really leveraged those same technologies, but built out our best practices so that our customers don't have to start from scratch every time. They have a starting point in which to then customize from. And, as soon as Microsoft entered the hosting arena with Microsoft 365, we moved to the Microsoft environment for BPO. And today we view ourselves as a full service solution provider that provides not only the customization, implementation, but also administration, training, and support. And just to give you some ideas to the customer base that we offer, some of our clients, they're really all over the board. They're really large companies like Adobe, well-known companies. Adobe's facilities management. I saw that we have somebody from facilities management on the call. We run BPO for Adobe, who is using BPO to manage all of the employee workplaces that their employees work from. So that's worldwide. We work with construction management firms, a lot of construction management firms like Paul that are servicing their markets and their clients. And then we work with specialty contractors, and we work with large and small companies. Our goal is to really provide an easy to use system that is customizable and meets the needs of our clients and their clients as well. So what Paul and I want to do is just kind of give you a flavor as to, how Paul uses this on a daily basis, and some of the things that we've done that are unique to Paul and his organization of Anser, and how he uses it on a regular basis to help manage the projects. And then I will go ahead and show you kind of a general template of our latest template, which is in a modern interface, which Paul will be migrating to. But Paul's going to focus on, how he uses it as a portfolio and program management site for his clients and internally. He's got some neat features that we thought we want to share with you as far as, statement of calendar days and how he manages it, as well as project information for his clients, and really using it as a market analysis tool. And then, on the ongoing field type of information, the information coming in for review and approval, submittals, RFIs, change orders, and meeting minutes specifically. So I'm going to go ahead and log into the Anser environment of BPO, and Paul can kind of walk us through the system.
And thank you, Laura. And like Laura said, this is Anser's unique portfolio screen. This is the way that we've decided to design our interface with our clients based on our client base and our clients' needs. What you're looking at right now is our homepage, or our Anser Advisory portfolio homepage. And you can customize what we call the project center. And this is where you can see several different projects listed right there. There's quick links and all sorts of ways that you can customize the information on the portfolio page, depending on the information you want to display for yourself, your users, and your clients. As far as the portfolio is concerned, one of our biggest clients is the County of Orange, and they have a division. We do a lot of landfill work. Well, when you're doing a program for an agency, you want them to only see their projects. So we created a custom portfolio. So when a user from this agency or the designer on this project or the program, logs in, they see only their agency's projects. So it's very, very customizable. There's no confusion as to where their projects are. They have unique links that take them directly to their projects. So let's move to the main homepage on one of the projects, which is the San Mateo landfill for the county of San Bernardino. And what you'll see is across the top, we have a menu bar, right? And it goes from the home, which we've showed you, calendars, there's project directory, which is, all of the directories, but project information. The project workflows is where we spend most of our time, and we'll get into that in a minute. We have a contracts tab, and then a bunch of document libraries for the things that relate to project workflows, but it's a repository of most of the critical information. And then we have tabs for reaching out to VPO support should we need it. So what you're seeing right here on this screen is a home screen for the project. Again, completely customizable with the information that you want to present to your project team. And it can be a click of a buttons to show the information. And it's real time. On this particular page, we have a contract schedule, a basic executive level contract schedule at the top. We have RFIs, we're tracking the status of submittals, and then change orders. But again, completely customizable. Now, getting into, we're only going to touch on a couple of the things here, but in California, according to public contract code, we're supposed to provide the contractor on a weekly basis a report called a weekly statement of calendar days or working days, depending on the contract. And we were able to sit down with VPO, and again, this is unique to California Public Contract Code, and you can track your milestones. So we use this. This is just your screen that you're seeing, but there's a way to get in, and on a weekly basis, you update the date, and it'll print out a very nice report that you can share with the contractor on a weekly basis that keeps not only the contractor, but the owner and everybody else in tune with exactly where we are along the project timeline. And that fulfills that need. The next thing we're going to go to is the project information tab. Now, as a consultant, it's very hard for, I also do business development for my firm, right? And everybody goes out and does the project. And at the end of the project, you're going after the next project and you're trying to gather all the critical information, who the client was, who the project manager was, the details of that project. And it's been horrendous trying to go back to the construction manager or the project manager on that project and pull something together for marketing purposes. Well, I require all my PMs at the beginning of the project to fill out this basic information here in this part of the software. And Laura has developed a way for me to export this information to a Word document in Anser's format that pulls this into a nice project profile sheet that we can use in a number of business development ways. The next one is really our project workflow menu. Everything, we're going to focus on the submittals here, but everything in this particular menu has a back and forth review, a collaboration or a workflow between multiple team members for review and or approvals. So we're going to click on the submittals here. It'll pull up a bunch of logs. You can see across the top that there are several different formats. You can create a custom format of this data and sort it any way you want without having to call VPO support and have them do it for you. You can get in there, and these are all the ones that we've created, but I know we're not going to get into it on this presentation, but any of my guys can go in and add the different data fields they want to see in a particular report on the fly. Again, without having to contact IT, without having to interrupt anybody else. Now we're getting into a specific submittal, and it's got your general information, the spec section, the type of the submittal, etc. And then you can see where we have all the attachments. So you, at any point, and this goes for any of our workflow menus, there is places where you get attachments submitted by the contractor, either via email or etc. Many different options, and you can attach all of your documents in one place specific to that submittal or that RFI item, which makes it very convenient to find the information. It's all right there. One of the things that we have implemented that I find unique and very, very beneficial is a discussion tab. This is where the information that you would typically see in your meeting minutes or your meeting agendas when you're discussing the status of submittals or RFIs or change orders, you're tracking the latest discussion and action items for a particular item on a daily basis. And this is where you would keep your notes. So in the past, we used to have to do our meeting agendas and meeting minutes in a Word document. And it would take quite a bit of effort to go through the status of each of the current issues that you wanted to discuss in a weekly meeting and update that discussion for the record. We do that now directly in the item, the submittal or the RFI item, etc. And this is being done real time throughout the week so that when we actually do our meeting minutes, it's very quick to create that document. Now, staying with the submittal, we have the review tab. And in the review tab, Laura, can you go into the edit for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
If you edit that document, you can see that the fields open up, and it gives you the ability to revise a submittal status, add reviewers' comments, add or look at attached documents. We have electronic signatures to get approvals. Ball in court, that's the typical way that we assign the ball in court or the responsibility for the action item. And then you can CC anybody else you want, which we found very unique. Most of the other systems out there have a very rigid workflow that if somebody in that workflow chain doesn't respond, everybody else is locked out. This way we have one primary ball in court, but you can CC as many people as you need to within the team, so you can keep processes moving or keep the team informed. And then go back to the meeting minutes, Laura, which is in our document library. And this is something that we have streamlined. This is our meeting minute log. We've streamlined the ability to make our agendas and our meeting minutes. So our meeting agendas are nothing more than a series of reports printed out from each of our workflow modules. and they're just, stacked in a particular order. And again, all of the information that you're going to see is pulled from the discussion items. So Laura, if you can go down just a little, there's the statement of working days report that we talked about earlier. We pull information from the internet, especially when it comes to weather. And then we get into our budget status report. So this is we didn't cover it in the earlier in the presentation, but this pulls information from the contract module, and it gives everybody in our meetings, especially the owner, a forecasted cost to complete, estimated cost to complete. It tracks executed change orders, pending change orders, and potential changes. Now, this is a particular customized report that I require. It's the way I do business, and it's the way my clients want me to do business. Laura was able to customize this report for me, and she can do that for anybody else as well. We attach our contractors' schedules just for look-ahead discussion. But from here on out, you are seeing customized reports sorted in different formats, and all of the discussion comes from each of those individual items. So again, the bulk of everything you're seeing is not something typed into a Word document right before the meeting or the day before. This is all nothing more than just a bunch of reports printed the morning of the meeting and put together in a specific order. And it encompasses all the information we've ever needed. And I think with that, Laura, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Yep. So, Paul, thank you for sharing with us your portfolio and program management sites, statement of calendar days, your project information and submittals and meeting minutes. And Paul's done a lot more, but we know we're on a limited time schedule. But I mean, I know Paul has a lot of tracking of the change order process of contracts that we didn't go into, and just always having a pulse on where they stand on the contracts associated with their projects, as well as storing a whole lot of documents. That having everything all in one searchable system means that you can do, a keyword search and find the information that you want right at your fingertips, which, is
and Laura, it's, it might be worth mentioning that all at the end of every project, the client, is looking for a transfer of all the important contract documents. And all of those document libraries are automatically archived by the system. So it is never lost. We have version history on everything. So the data is extremely secure. And once the project is completed, it's very easy to archive all the documentation and hand it over to the owner.
Yeah. All right, so thank you, Paul. So I just wanted to give the audience also just a flavor of, what's possible now. We've been working with Anser and Paul for several years. And so, the great thing about our job is that we get to work with companies like Paul, who have very innovative ideas, and other companies as well, to kind of create our best practices. So what you're seeing here is kind of a culmination of years of experience and what the industry is kind of requiring from a standard perspective, and taking advantage of some of the newer features that Microsoft now offers us from a platform perspective. So I just have a simple demo site here that I'm sharing with you. This is the new look and feel of our portfolio site, which is very similar to how Paul's running it. It has some pictures for renderings of projects. It has a listing of all the projects. So for customers who are looking for a program management or portfolio management system, this lends itself nicely by having information in this tabular format to be able to track statistics at the project level, so that you can use the system from a budgeting perspective, to a tracking system across all the projects. Anything that you want to report on via the project side of things is available for you as well. So we have things like a budget variance report that's funneling up information from the detailed project level to the portfolio level. We have information, just a simple activity report if we wanted to see a number of RFIs or submittals that are coming in, or daily reports that are coming in on a project, being able to report on that information and also incorporate it into reports that, are Power BI type reports or interactive reports that I'll share with you down below, that enables you to, share that information with, oh, I'm not logged in as the right person here. Hold on. Share that information with everybody on the project that requires it. So this is a very simple, easy way to have a go-to location for executives, for stakeholders to go in and get a quick status report of all the projects that are interactive, so that you can drill down into the information that you're most interested in, and the reports just reflect that. But usability is a big thing for us too. So making people comfortable with, the system, and being able to have, links to people, links to information that you work with on a regular basis, and also, training information, documentation, being able to submit a support ticket is critical. As far as at the project level, I'll show you a couple of newer things too. When we go into the project site itself, we have a nice rendering that we can include in the project pages themselves. Or I like, for clients that have global projects, sharing the timeline, your date and time and weather information with the audience, and even something as simple as progress photos. This isn't all the photos on the project, but these are the ones that are of importance now. And then you have items like RFIs and submittals. You can have key information or contact information on the site, like we shared with Paul's site, quick links of areas that you work with all the time, and even news items that may be relevant to the audience visiting your project's homepage. Now, as you can see, there's going to be a lot of overlap with the modules that Paul has, and then maybe some new modules that Paul hasn't deployed or implemented yet. What we try to do is give our clients a starting point. So, and also a best practice of, what's the most common thing that people require on a project. So we have developed things like a project directory where, you can invite your contacts to the project, but this lends itself to the easy administration aspect of allowing us VPO support to invite and onboard the people outside of your organization who you're inviting in. So having an easy way to add a contact from your global directory, pulling them in, but then just by a click of a button, initiating our team to start the onboarding process, allowing us to know what security group that user belongs in. And then our team takes it from there. We invite the end user. We help troubleshoot any issues that they have, maybe with their firewall, receiving email notifications, make sure that they're able to access the system effectively. So therefore, you can be confident that the system is in a working condition for the people that you invite in. So there's meeting minutes, email for the project, an email address for the project that you can take advantage of, a digital notebook. Under documents, we have a new issuance module that enables you to keep track of documents, drawings, specifications that have been issued on the project, and keeping track of what those actual individual drawings are in the packages associated with them. We have just general, and where the drawings and documents actually live on the project. You can store all of the metadata associated with it, as far as what architect, what discipline, the type of drawing, and any drawing package that's been part of, as well as just tracking internal documents. The system is secure, so Paul's company and their users have different access rights than anybody else they'd be inviting in, like their client, the architect, engineer, and contractor. So internal documents are typically confidential documents that only our client sees, but you can have other documents that are shared throughout the project, like a schedule. Being able to post a schedule so that everybody on the project can see the Microsoft project schedule or Primavera schedule, whatever schedule platform you like, being able to share and collaborate that so that everybody has access to it. and receives email notifications when new information is posted automatically, so that when you're not logged into the system, you still keep abreast of, where of new documents as they're being posted. Paul and a lot of our other clients use our project costing modules for budget management, contracts, purchase orders, all of the change documents that go against those documents, to be able to report on high level information at the project level, but then again rolls up to the portfolio level as well. So a lot of customers use this system for potential change orders that could turn into change orders, and the tracking associated with that, knowing exactly where you're going to be at the end of the project. And then information like daily reports, things that are getting collected from the field, like punch lists, daily reports, inspection reports, having an easy mechanism to collect the information from the contractors of what's going on the site, providing as much detail as needed, and then being able to print that as a daily report if need be for your client or for the project, and having all that information accessible in a nice summary type report here. So those are just some of the things that, we've been working on, some safety modules that, safety is important to a lot of our projects. So we give our customers the ability to keep track of safety information, but then also roll up that information into nice dashboard type reports too, that enable you to, share that with stakeholders and people inside and even outside of your organization. And just status reports, being able to quickly, generate reports, like Paul said, with meeting minutes, he's able to generate everything on the fly easily, but all the information is coming from BPO. So, the people are tracking on a daily basis. So having that information at your fingertips is important to our clients. So just wanted to kind of give you a flavor for, our general template. And then, you can see how far Paul's come with things that are unique to their organization and their clients, and how, that helps him in his business, return, as an investment for Paul's clients. So Paul, at this point, I will turn it back over to you to kind of wrap up, and then share some experiences as far as what your clients and others that you've introduced BPO think of BPO.
Sure, absolutely. So why BPO? Why did we settle there, and why haven't we had to look anywhere else? I mean, as I mentioned before, we deal with a lot of clients, and everybody is very concerned about the security of the data. We work with agencies like the VA, so federal government, and how secure and data sensitive they are. So trying to give them, the agency, the confidence that you are implementing a system that will not compromise their network is very, very important. When we tell them that it is a Microsoft 365 platform, they already know that Microsoft takes data security very seriously, and they have the tools in place to protect. So the nice thing is we just turned that interface over to Laura and the head IT guy from the VA, and I don't have to worry about that. The other nice thing about BPO is, again, their willingness to work with not only Anser, but anybody that asks them to create a custom solution for them to do work the way the clients and their workflow demands, right? So you're not having to go to Procore and say, hey, I'd love to have this feature. Well, it might be, it might come out in next year's update. I can call Laura at any time and say, hey, what about this? Or any of your other clients doing that? And yeah, if it's something that they're doing, or even if it's something innovative like the discussion tab, which is what I had wanted, Laura was able to say, yeah, let's pull the team together and figure out how to get it done. So it really enables me and the rest of Anser to implement best practices. Now, Anser Advisory is a big proponent of the Construction Management Association of America. We are very involved on a national level, and we are big proponents of their best practices. So everything that Anser does through BPO is in line with those standards of practice. We invite so many contractors and stakeholders to use it, and we encourage them to use it so that they're not having to come to me or my staff directly every time they want a different type of or piece of information. So the system has to be intuitive and easy enough and friendly enough for them to use to not bother me and give them the ability to gather the information they're looking at. And then finally, when support is needed, you know, I can pick up the phone or go to the support tab, and I know Laura's staff. They're a company, very friendly. They're going to bend over backwards to make sure that the system is working the way it should. Or again, if it's a customized request, they'll pull in Laura or Beth and sit down and see how they can help you. So it's been a great resource, a great find, and I haven't had to even want to look anywhere else since 2016.
And our support team really understands your customization, which is important when you have so much customization, is you don't have to, you know, they can figure out what's unique about your environment.
Exactly. And, you know, also VPO has created a template, an Anser template. So each time I want to start a new project, it's not starting over from scratch. We take the current Anser template and it's implemented and everything is set. The nice thing about it is that we have had such good feedback from our clients, designers, and even contractors. You know, I can name just a couple of examples. One that I like to tell is, again, we work with a lot of large agencies, the County of Orange, and specifically their waste and recycling department. We've been working with them since 2016, and we implemented, they didn't have a CMS. So we used it on multi-million-dollar projects successfully from 2016 to 2019. And then a different division, their public works department, said, you know what, we're going to implement eBuilder throughout all county departments. So they went through this big procurement and analysis. They chose eBuilder. It's been 3 years. They've used it on 1 or 2 projects with terrible results. We're now about to embark on another $45 million landfill project, and they're so disgusted with eBuilder, they've actually come to me and said, listen, we want to use VPO on this next project. And they don't even want to be bothered because and again, I'm not throwing stones at eBuilder, but the enterprise system that they're trying to implement had so many people locked down and ruled by the IT department that it became unusable. So they really love the flexibility and the customized approach of VPO for their past projects, and they want to continue using it. The second one example is Tetra Tech. I mean, everybody's heard of Tetra Tech and KPFF. They're national companies, designers, and they've watched and collaborated with Anser and my staff on the projects that we've managed. And so they've had to use VPO. And what's interesting is Laura has shared with me, and I found out through the staff I work with, is that they liked it so much, they went back to their construction management divisions because they were searching for a system and solution that was usable and customizable. Now KPFF and Tetra Tech are clients of ours. Mm-hmm. So it's funny how it started as they were end users or stakeholders, and now they're clients. And then the other nice thing is usually contractors are the last ones to give you kudos for anything that is working. But we work with a very large GC, Good Construction, here in Southern California, and they work and they use CMSs that their clients require on all their projects, and they've told us that VPO is by far the easiest for them to use because it's transparent, collaborative, and flexible. So those are just 3 examples. So, but why has it worked for me? I mean, and it's stated here, I just didn't get a product. I've got a partner. I've been working with Lauren and her team now for since 2016, almost 6 years. And the system keeps getting better. As Laura said earlier, I just got a budget approval to now upgrade my interface to modern forms. The things that we love about VPO, it's a full service solution. We've been able to incorporate all of the different modules and customize them to the way we do business. They're experienced. It allows us to do analysis. Because of the templates, it's a very quick startup for each project. We can do our own administration or turn it over to Laura as far as the onboarding and training. They take care of all of that stuff. It's very, very intuitive because it's Windows based and intuitive. There's no big learning curves there. The support for internal and external users, and especially, as I mentioned before, big agencies like the VA. And I just turn, all that stuff over to Laura. We've collaborated and done some recordings for internal training so that we can send out, if we have a new user, we can, send them a link to some recorded training. And again, it's the continual customization as this industry evolves. And as we get to see how others are doing things, we can implement what makes sense for us. And then lastly, it's secure. It's cloud-based. I'm not worried about whether my computer is going to crash. Everything is cloud-based these days. And with the sensitivity around security for data, I don't have to worry about that.
Well, thank you, Paul. Just to remind people, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Paul or myself, feel free to chat them in the Q&A and or chat feature of Zoom, whatever is most comfortable for you, and then we can address them. But I wanted to thank you very much, Paul, for sharing your experience with VPO and, letting others know, because that's the hard thing. There really are so many different solutions in the market today. So it is hard from a buyer's perspective to understand, what differentiates companies from one another. So I appreciate you taking the time to share your experiences and with the group here. That's probably a lot in the same boat. So let's, Daisy, do you want to let us know if there are any questions that have come in on the Q&A section while we have been on?
Sure, Laura. Thank you both. One question is, Paul, when you mentioned that you work in business development also for Anser Advisory, when you meet with potential new clients, do you mention VPO?
Absolutely. So it depends on the client, right? So a lot of the large clients already have their CMS already established. It's an enterprise system, and obviously we're not going to try to change what they do. However, the smaller municipal clients that don't have an enterprise solution, they're actually expecting that a CM firm have a system already in place that will, very efficiently and cost consciously manage their projects. So this is definitely something that we promote in our, if we're selected and we're on a shortlisted and we're interviewed, we bring this up all the time.
And we have other clients that do so as well. I think you've always said you use it as a selling point to differentiate yourselves as far as what the client can expect, of course, because it's part of your service to them.
Exactly. And the other thing we always say is that, we don't have to have a traditional document control person in there feeding the machine, right? Getting the documents in. It's done by our staff, our technical staff, and doesn't, so that's a savings for the client.
And what's interesting to me too is, a lot of people that get invited in to see VPO, once they understand how it works, then they want to become a client too. So we've gotten definitely some clients who are indirect users of the system from companies like you, inviting them into the system. A lot of our owner clients too, who introduce it to other contractors and engineering firms. end up, sharing the success of BPO and introducing companies to BPO. So that's fortunate for us as well. Any other questions, Daisy? I know we're at the top, almost at the top of the hour.
We are. I don't see any more questions. I just wanted to prompt you, Laura, to let everybody know how they can reach you and Paul, and then also that we have a webinar scheduled in January as well.
Yes, we have another client, Brian from Bowen Collins, who will be talking about their pathway to success with BPO as well. A little different of a twist. Brian and I actually did a presentation to the APWA in Utah, the American Public Works Association, earlier this year. So we thought it would be nice to be able to share that with this audience or our audience here as well. So good case success stories right from our clients, which is always appreciative as a vendor.
And speaking of those case studies, Laura, the one that was written about Anser Advisory's experience with BPO is available on our website. It's called "How Do You Put a Price on Keeping a Client Happy?" So if you're interested in reading more about Paul's experience and his team's experience, please go ahead and visit on our website.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I see Rob is on the call. Rob and I have talked, and Thomas or anybody else on the call, if please feel free to reach out, and we can dive in a little bit more detail, at least on our system. Be happy to walk you through that and discuss how we use it, or any way I can. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, Paul, I really appreciate you taking the time to share your experience, as I said. So getting ready for the holidays, I'm sure. So go enjoy yourselves, and feel free for anybody, I'll put Paul's information up here again, to contact Paul with any questions as well. So I appreciate the time. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of your day.
thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.